Halloween is here.
Almost.
What is your favorite treat? Least favorite? Butterfingers are so overrated. Hashtag.
Yes, they are. They get stuck in your teeth.
I like them, but okay. So for me, I'm a candy junkie. I like anything sweet. I always found that when I was a kid, I would eat the Kit Kats, the peanut butter cups, and the Skittles first. Those were my favorites. But
the higher end.
Yeah, but I like some of the lower end candies a lot too. The ones that most people pass by. Like I love Smarties. And
I was going to say Smarties are great.
I love Smarties.
Is that an East Coast thing more than West Coast Smarties?
I think so.
As much.
Yeah. I love Smarties and I love Necco wafers.
Never got Necco wafers as a kid.
Never?
Never. I got Charleston Chew, which is the worst chocolate treat ever. Old ladies would give you Charleston Chew. I'd never see someone buy a Charleston Chew in my life, and they sell the big ones. I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've just never seen anyone, buy one, eat it, and live.
I've eaten them. I mean,
they are real. When they say chew, there's some chew going on.
There's some longevity there.
What is it? It's like pure hard caramel, basically.
The thing to do with the Charleston Chew is put it in the fridge and then break it on the counter. And
then break your teeth when you chew it.
Well, at least you get tinier bites. The only candy that I didn't like getting when I was a kid, and there's two types of it, and one is good and one is awful, and you usually got it from the houses of older people. It's that generic orange wax paper wrapped white taffy that is supposed to be like peanut butter taffy, and it just tastes like nothing. It's awful.
Okay.
And there's one now, and then there were ones.
I'd really get taffy, but okay.
There were ones that actually had peanut butter in the center, and those were good. But the ones that were just supposed to be like a peanut butter flavored taffy piece, they were never good, and they were always the ones that were left at the bottom. The thing is, I love stuff like Abba Zabbas, which are taffies with peanut butter in them and stuff like that. But there was like a generic Brock's orange wrapped peanut butter taffy, and it was just. That gross.
Sounds well. Taffy is definitely more of an East Coast thing since that's where it originated. But I think. I didn't talk about my favorites. I always liked, obviously, you have your standards. You have your standard Hershey's. You would love it when you found a house that gave you a full Hershey bar.
Or like a full Snickers.
The almond one or the I say almond because my dad does, almond, or the regular one. But then again, I'll go off for a half hour about how Fun Size is half the size it used to be. Fun Size used to be almost half the size of a Snickers bar. Now it's like a fifth.
And can I also state that, especially with Snickers, I don't eat Fun Size Snickers bars. Why? Because they don't fucking taste the same. I swear to God,
a different plant.
I have said this since I was like 5 or 6. They don't taste the same. To me, they don't taste anything like a normal Snickers. I'm sure it's mental, but they don't taste anything like it.
Not that you're mental at all. But the Fun Size have gone down on like the Three Musketeers. Three Musketeers balls always used to be bigger to begin with. Remember how they were always like, I'd say 25% bigger? But the biggest offender, the Fun Size Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, is not even close, because not only are they like, it's like a Fun Size was a half. Reese's Peanut Butter Cup traditionally was 2.
Right. So if
you were Bobby on the street, he'd get the big 6 king pack and refuse to give little Pat one. You always asked for one, asshole. You may not be responsible for breaking my arm when I was 3. Anyway, so that's a whole other story. So the Fun Size is not only just one. Have you seen a Fun Size lately?
No.
They're like a nickel size. They are not the same size of a traditional. Unless a 2-pack, they've gotten smaller too.
No.
They are terribly sized.
I don't know.
They are barely bigger. It basically, a Fun Size peanut butter cup is almost the size of like the mini wrapped ones.
Little foil wrapped ones.
They're like almost the same now. It's piss poor.
I have to say something about Reese's peanut butter cups too. I like Reese's peanut butter cups.
Who doesn't?
Well, me 50% of the time. Have you ever noticed that, like, when you get a nice fresh pack of Reese's peanut butter cups, there's kind of like a crack when you crack into them?
Oh, sure.
The peanut butter is nice and, like, almost gooey, and, like, the chocolate's good. When you open up a package of peanut butter cups, and it's got that weird, like it's not shiny anymore. It's a very dull divot in the center, and you can tell. You can tell they've been sitting on the shelf for like 2 weeks. No, I don't even want to eat them. I'll give them away.
Give them to me. I love peanut butter cups. Are great. How about I wish I could go trick-or-treating without getting arrested for being a creep, because I love to do candy research and see how it's evolved or devolved. Do they still sell the bigger Jolly Ranchers, like the big,
I fucking
pop,
love those.
the big pop size ones that are like like 4 to 6 inches long. Do they sell those anymore?
I don't think so. I haven't seen them in years.
Did they die out with our generation? You
I
think?
loved those.
Because when you got that, now any Jolly Rancher is fantastic.
Yeah.
Probably the most underrated candy. I say of all of them, chocolate or fruit based to me is Jolly Ranchers. Whether it's the strawberry, the sweet apple, green apple, grape we had. You would get the thin but long ones. And
one of the few green apple flavored things that I enjoy.
They got that down.
Mm-hmm.
They got the green apple down. Anyway, but they were. I guess parents would complain nowadays because we're talking, I don't know how many thousands of milligrams of sugar would be in one of those big Jolly Ranchers.
How many cavities were caused by a particle of Jolly Rancher being
that's stuck in your
for months?
So I loved those. I love getting Nerds, and Nerds are still around.
Yes.
Nerds are thankfully still around. They still do the split pack,
and they're still the same exact candy as they've always been.
Still pure sugar and garbage.
Yeah,
they're so good. I don't know if they make them bigger. They used to have the bigger ones. They did the minier ones, but they used to make a bigger one. I think going to that candy store in LA at the mall at the Venetian, I believe, one of the malls, I think has a candy store.
You're talking about a bigger box of Nerds?
Yeah, a bigger box.
I haven't seen it in forever, but I know what you're talking about.
But I think they still make those at least.
Okay.
So those are great. The one candy, honestly, not a huge Tootsie Roll fan.
Oh yeah,
I could do them, but the Tootsie Roll Pop, okay, you like those?
Here's the fucked up thing. I like Tootsie Roll Pops because I think the sucker part of it is the absolute best of any of the filled suckers.
Better than a Blow Pop?
Better than Blow Pop. But I could totally do without the Tootsie Roll center.
It's almost like, all right, you want to stop at the Tootsie Roll.
Yeah.
Versus a Blow Pop where the gum is actually good.
In Charms hard candy isn't bad. So, like, I will, more often than not, I guess these days, go with a Blow Pop because I'll enjoy the whole thing. But, like, man, a Raspberry Tootsie Pop is so good. And then you get to the center and you're like, I don't want to do this.
How about Dum Dums? You like the Dum Dums?
I do like Dum Dums.
Dum Dums are still around.
I love Dum Dums.
I think I have a question mark flavor one. It's still my...
So, do you know what the story is behind the question mark flavor?
No, I don't. But it's like one of the best flavors.
If it's maybe I'm thinking Airheads, which I do like too. Airheads, and I think it's the same for Dum Dums. I think the article I read said it's the same. What it is when they are finishing a run of a flavor and they switch over to the next flavor.
It's like the in between.
the first like whatever that come out are the in between mix of two flavors.
I always remember the flavor being. I guess it's hard to describe. It's really hard to describe. It's just like an amalgamation of
yeah. So I'm pretty sure it's the same for Dum Dums.
Dum Dums were always good because they were small. Like I actually didn't like having a huge. I was never a big lollipop person. But Dum Dums are small. You can get through one within like a half hour, and like the root beer.
Half hour, fucking 5 minutes.
Well, you know what I'm saying. It's not like a Blow Pop can take forever. Then you get to that weird in between. Should I bite into it and get to the gum or not stage? But the root beer was fantastic.
Butterscotch was good.
I'm not a big butterscotch fan, but that was a good one.
I like butterscotch.
But I mean, we can go through all
all the flavors are fine.
But the whole point was that they were so small, you can have a few of them at a time.
Pina colada. They even had like a pina colada flavor, which was delicious.
They still have all these flavors, I believe.
Yeah.
But the Dum Dums were great because they were small. And every birthday party with my cousin, we had the goodie bags. Always a few Dum Dums in there.
Yeah.
Always had Dum Dums. So long live the Dum Dums. In terms of other good or bad ones. We can go on this forever. We have to end the podcast.
Apparently, we both like candy, and we feel passionate about it.
We both like candy. I could. You know what? I want to go trick or treating. So I want to.
No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Rite Aid tomorrow, and I'm going to buy one of those 400 count bags of Dum Dums for $3.99.
I'll go hands with you. I will go ahead. We'll divide it up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was even a bad Dum Dums flavor. Did they have a bad lemon one? I don't remember like a bad flavor that they had. They were all different.
I can't think of it. There was a pineapple. I can't think of a single
pineapple.
Dum Dums.
I thought was good.
Yeah, there's not a single Dum Dums flavor that I wouldn't eat.
Sure. And then we've lost some candies along the way. We no longer have some like that rolled one with the nuts on the outside.
Oh
from the
80s.
Remember that one? I don't remember what that was. But that was rarely given at trick or treat. That was like an expensive, more like like a big. You know what I'm talking about? There's no more PB Max.
PB Max was good stuff.
That was pure peanut butter in there, baby.
Yeah, that was excellent. And
that's why I was a chubby kid.
It's a shame.
PB Max is with my Transformers lunchbox.
When I was a kid, We would trick or treat in my neighborhood, in my grandma's neighborhood, and we knew these people, and some of them would still make like popcorn balls and stuff and hand them out. And I freaking love popcorn balls. You're not gonna find a popcorn ball trick or treating.
I don't remember those popcorn balls.
You don't know what a popcorn ball is?
I do not remember those.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Was it Upper New York?
You basically make like a batch of like caramel, and then
this is a custom candy.
And you make a bunch of popcorn and you roll it all together into a ball and you eat it like an apple. Only it's a caramel corn ball.
Oh wow!
Really popular, at least in my neck of the woods.
They gave that out. Now you can't have anything that's unwrapped.
Right. Well, I mean, they would wrap it, but you
can't have something. I mean, I actually got apples sometimes as a kid. Like that, I lived in the era where you still got that. There was no switchblades in them.
And I also got handfuls of like pennies,
I got pennies,
and nickels. Yeah.
You know what? And I like that. I would build towards my comics that cost $1 or 75 cents. Right. Why not? And then what was the one thing I was going to bring up that you just threw me off about in terms of candy? Dum Dums, Blow Pops.
Candies that are no longer with us.
Candy corn was terrible.
Fuck that.
By and large.
Yeah, fuck that.
Don't give me a little handful of candy corn. Get the fuck out of here. Never got those more luxury bars like Fifth Avenue's. Rarely got those, but you get one every now and then. But Fifth Avenue's still around, I believe.
It is.
Yeah, I just love that feeling. I used to always use a pillowcase. Bring 2 pillowcases. Mm-hmm. Bring 2, and you have a drop off, so you can drop it off, come back out with 2 pillowcases. These amateurs with your little plastic pumpkin. What do you fit like 4 houses in there? Fit like 2 blocks? Amateur. We go to multiple cities. And how about when you used to walk around, like when you used to go, like your parents didn't give a shit back in the day. I'd go 5 towns over. And I was out till 9 at night. And then you get into those weird situations where all of a sudden it's like you and your friend with the older kids that maybe like 17, 18 when you're like 10, and one maybe has an air rifle, so you're scared half to death, So you know what I mean? Like in those weird situations. God, I missed that.
So I'll finish off this with one quick story about Halloween and how it's drastically changed and neighborhoods have changed before we close out here. There was a house 3 doors down from where I lived. And the guy worked for Troyer Farms. Now, I don't know if you remember Troyer Farms. It was like a local potato chip. It was a Northeast potato chip, like pretzel company. Okay. Kids loved the house because he worked for him. And he would come home every Halloween. He would throw open the back of his van or whatever it was, and he'd open all these boxes. And they were like this size bags of chips. And he had the nacho cheese and the salt and vinegar and all the good flavors. And you would trick or treat, and you would go up, and you would just take whatever bag of chips you wanted. And it was like getting a full size bar. It was one of the first things you always wanted to eat. But this guy, and like I said, this was a very close knit neighborhood. Everyone knew each other. For the adults who were taking the kids out trick or treating, every year, about 4 months before Halloween started, he would take vodka and he would take smashed berries and he would let it sit. And if you were an adult taking kids trick-or-treating and you threw $1 in his tip jar, he would pour you a shot of either blueberry, raspberry, and I think he did cherry vodka.
Wow.
And he did it homemade every year for every year that I lived in that neighborhood that I can remember trick-or-treating.
That is
and my dad always loved going to that house because, we'd go, I'd grab my chips, my dad would throw him $1 and get blueberry vodka, and we'd just keep on going.
How about those neighbors that thought they were too smart for the room, or you say trick-or-treat and they go, show me, they say, show me a trick. No, asshole. Trick or treats to you. Yeah. You give me a trick or a treat. I don't do a trick for you. But sometimes you would get someone that actually would show you a trick. That happened to me like a few times with like little magic tricks.
Right.
They give you candy anyway, but because no one gives you a trick ever. That should be awesome.
Yeah.
Give me a trick. Why not?
Why not?
Show me something cool. We can go on this more forever. There's so many different stories I have.
We're done.
Just the experience of going up to weird houses when you're a kid, and I rarely had parental supervision. Nowadays, it's like required, or else parents freak out. That's a whole other conversation. But it was always just like, the lights are off. It's a weird part of the neighborhood. There's no Halloween. There's no Halloween.
The decorations are gone.
There's none at all. So this is either going to be no one home, scared, or you would be surprised and get an old lady come out and give you know what I mean? Give you candy. It was always like that weird, scared part of Halloween that I love. Anyway,